Good morning, Trump's family. Have a great Friday, everyone, and God bless you. Thank you for always watching and subscribing to the channel. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the news. We'll get to Steve Bannon surrendering himself to New York authorities. This is about the 10,000th time they've tried to put him in prison. Definitely Democrats don't go after the direct political rivals, they're obsessed with this man. They're obsessed with Trump. And the interesting thing is that, do you ever see a city attorneys in a red state with just conservatives going after a Democrat? Does that ever happen? You can say, well, there's an issue with jurisdiction. And you don't know what you're talking about. It's completely apolitical. You have Democrats in Georgia, Democrats in New York, Democrats at the Mueller probe, special counsel going after Trump, and Bannon and all of these people. And you have a Federal Bureau of Investigation agent resigning for helping cover up the Hunter email fiasco where there's graft and bribery within those emails. Then you had Kevin Client-Smith, a top agent at the Bureau, pleading guilty in the Durham probe special counsel to falsifying evidence to deceive a FISA judge in order to continue an investigation into one of Trump's people within his campaign. So Carter Page. So you have all of this, and we'll get to that in a second. But this is very important to New York. On Yahoo News, Business Insider article, Trump pushed to preserve White House docs because he was convinced Biden would destroy evidence of intelligence agency plot against him. Report says, I think that's very likely. And I think that there are a number of reasons why Trump probably kept classified documents. Now, the main reason was very likely. There was a quick and hurried push to just leave the White House in the Oval Office. They weren't happy when he was inaugurated. And he got into the Oval Office, they were unhappy when he left. They're never happy. It's 2 years into mashed potato brains presidency, and they're still talking about Trump and Ben and menaces to democracy and all of these things. But here, Trump pushed to preserve White House dogs because he was convinced Biden would destroy evidence. Yahoo News. The Business Insider article, Trump told staffers at the end of his term to preserve documents about the Russia probe. Her Rolling Stone. He reportedly believed they would prove an intelligence agency plot against him and trying to get them declassified. He thought Biden's team would try to destroy them. Yeah, they would. They would totally cover up. That's how they roll. They intimidate Twitter, or actually they just ask Twitter because the people they're more than willing to censor anything that harms Democrats. Former President Donald Trump pushed age to preserve documents in the Russia investigation that he believed exonerated him because he believed that Joe Biden would destroy them. Rolling Stone reported. So it's a Rolling Stone article. The interesting thing here is that the Rolling Stone article and the Business Insider article don't talk about the Durham probe special counsel. Okay. They don't mention that. And now, the bumbling Biden administration is quaking in their boots as we got 7 massive bombshells coming out of the Mar-a-Lago raid. Wow. The FBI raid of Mar-a-Lago continues to be the gift that just keeps on giving each and every day. We're finding out more and more just how desperate the Justice Department, the FBI, the Democrat deep state really were in all of this. We're finding that it didn't go at all the way they plan, and now with the appointment of special master by this latest judge, 7 new bombshells are being dropped. As we speak, reported just the other day on how the Trump team got a huge win with a federal judge ruling in their favor, that a special master will indeed be appointed to review the documents seized by FBI agents at Mar-a-Lago. And the cherry on the top in all of this is that judge has also ordered a halt to the FBI investigation of Trump, to the extent that they're using those very seized documents. Now, as a result of this ruling, Marco Cleveland over the Federalists has documented 7 major bombshells that came out of that ruling, dealing directly with the Mar-a-Lago raid, the judge who ruled that a special master be appointed. She's U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon. She wrote up a 24-page ruling, and in it, there's just some serious gold in terms of how the FBI is where in the DOJ is fabricated narrative, justifying the raid, how they're all just falling apart. So bombshell number 1, Joe Biden was directly involved in ordering this raid. Now, as I'm sure you know, Biden has been consistently denying he had anything to do with it right now. I had no advance, Nolan Rents, no, ever, none whatsoever. No. Well, according to this judge's official ruling, that's a bold-faced lie. The Federalist reports, the judge summarized the context of the raid thusly: throughout 2021, Trump in the National Archives and Records Administration, engaged in conversations concerning records from Trump's time in office. Those discussions resulted in Trump, January 2022, transferring 15 boxes from Mar-a-Lago to the National Archives. The National Archives subsequently informed the Department of Justice that some items in the boxes contain markings of classified national security information. And again, I should stop there and to simply point out, so what if this were Hillary Clinton? Yeah, that would be huge. If this were Nancy Pelosi? Yeah, huge. But this is the President of the United States. The one person on the planet who gets to declassify whatever he wishes. Unelected and unaccountable deep state operatives do not have ultimate classification authority in our nation. The duly elected commander-in-chief does not should be the end of the story, but I digress. According to the judge's ruling, she cited a letter sent by the National Archives to Trump's lawyers making it clear, quote, that the National Archives will provide the FBI access to the records in question, as requested by the incumbent president. As a Federalist article points out, this language makes it clear that Biden was directly involved in this process, asking the National Archives to give the doc. Bombshell number 2. The timeline of the Trump targeting is now suspect. After the National Archives received Trump's files in May, they sent the letter to Trump's lawyers informing them that they would be turning those files over to the FBI on May 12. However, according to the judge's timeline, on May 11, the DOJ obtained a grand jury subpoena for all documents and Trump possession. This would have been the day before the DOJ could have reviewed the documents sent over by the National Archives. In other words, it didn't matter what was in the files that Trump sent over, since obviously, the DOJ had not yet seen them. The DOJ seem hell-bent on getting a search warrant to send the FBI in a Mar-a-Lago regardless, which raises the question, was it Biden that gave them the order to do that? Bombshell number 3. We now have judicial confirmation that Trump's executive privilege cannot be so quickly sidestepped. The Biden administration has been doing their darndest to strip Trump of any executive privilege which gives him the right to sequester any documents or information he deems necessary from either Biden or from Congress, you name it. This judge has just affirmed that Trump does indeed have that right. As a former commander-in-chief, bombshell number 4, we now know that members of the investigative team saw confidential attorney-client documents. The judge's ruling made it clear that confidential attorney-client material was indeed seized and examined by government authorities. According to the judge, those instances alone call into question the adequacy and procedural legitimacy of this entire raid. There was no effort of expelling or walling off the members of the investigative team after it was revealed that they examined privileged attorney-client information and the like. Bombshell number 5. It's now been confirmed that DOJ seized a lot of Trump's personal material. Of the thousands of documents seized from Mar-a-Lago, several 100 involved personal tax returns, medical records, and of course, accounting information. Moreover, apparently articles of clothing received along with Trump's passport. Apparently, those items have now been returned. But of course, all of that begs the question, why were they taken in the first place? All of this suggests nothing more than a fishing expedition. This wasn't a raid to get back classified documents supposedly belong to the National Archives. This was a fishing expedition looking for a crime. Bombshell number 6. The FBI actually suggested that Trump committed a crime by returning a torn-up document to the National Archives. It's right. Apparently, a special agent wrote back in February a brief that accused Trump of illegally tearing up certain files, which required an investigation of Trump. And what's so fascinating here is that the redacted affidavit doesn't mention that letter, the torn-up files. Apparently, the unredacted version of the affidavit cited merely the improper storage of classified information, but nothing about torn-up files being a crime, which implies that even the DOJ was embarrassed by that portion of the affidavit. And finally, bombshell number 7. Leaks look bad to this judge appointing the special master made it clear that the integrity of this entire process has been tainted by the totally unprofessional, frankly, partisan nature of the DOJ and the FBI, particularly in terms of the amount of leaks that are coming out each and every day, intentionally designed to hurt President Trump altogether. It is clear that this whole thing stinks. It stinks in every possible way, and it's beyond disgusting that our lamestream media is playing right along with this stench, but it may all be too little too late. This raid looks like it's unraveling, and I don't know if anyone can hope to put it back together. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. If you're up for it, I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for watching, and I will see you